Lord, I can see you in all the lovely things so fine and true. I see you in the beauty of the flowers and the rain. I see you between the lines of a sweet refrain. I'm so blessed, my Lord, I can see you even when I'm lonely and in pain. I see you in the beauty of the stars at night. I see you in my life, I feel alright. I see you, Lord, in sorrow and in happiness. I see you in the glory of sweet success. I see you, Lord, every hour, every day. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I'm so blessed, my Lord, I can see you in the smile of a baby, sweet and true. I can see you in the eyes of my very best friends. I see you in these bonds, just like your love that never ends. I see you, Lord, in sorrow and in happiness. I see you in the glory of sweet success. I see you, Lord, every hour, every day. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I see you, Lord, in sorrow and in happiness. I see you with the glory of sweet success. I see you, Lord, every hour, every day. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I pray. I can see you, Lord, whenever I pray. I see you, Lord.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, helas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bangaw, ay hinatang tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang ituloy
September 29, 2021, Wednesday. Good morning. This is Kyla Alcaraz and you are watching IBT News. Our top stories for today. International business trading involved to globalization. Major paces in discovery, prior and post-globalization. Beyond emerging global business. International business subsidy to modern economy. The complexity of unified framework to global business. Global economy as a positive sum game. Status of European business today. As for today's agenda, let me enlighten you all on the international business trading involved to globalization. The chain of positive and negative effect globalization continue to grow. Advances in globalization including mobile phones, aircraft, telephones, and the internet allow the transport and communication network to expand. This means that the people and countries may exchange information and goods more swiftly with less complicated way. Globalization is now considered as both cause and effect of the creation of extremely profitable organization, the emergence of brands, and the establishment of a global marketplace for products and services, knowledge, culture, and even languages. As a result, the competition rises worldwide. On the contrary, people and environment mostly suffer because of intense international business trading, where economic advantage and disadvantage exist. People did not receive the same benefits like what had been offered to other countries, such as insufficient insurance, social insurance, or health insurance. The theory of world system that mostly focuses on development immense the inequality between countries. Understanding globalization gave an important share in economy of different countries, which lead us today a modernized and civilized world. Ms. Castillo has the news.
Like Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba in 2018, they announced that the ancient city of Xi'an as the site for its new regional headquarters, which holds a symbolic value that brought globalization to its ancient birthplace, the start of the old Silk Road. The city where globalization had started more than 2,000 years ago would also have a stake in globalization future. Alibaba shouldn't be alone in looking back, as we are entering a new digital driven era of globalization, which we call Globalization 4.0. People have been trading goods for almost as long as they've been around. Starting on the 1st century, the Silk Road phase, a remarkable phenomenon on the silk trading system began. For the first time in history, luxury products from China started to appear on the other edge of Eurasian continent to roam and started to trade globally. With the new religion spread in all directions from its Arabian heartland in the 7th century, so did the spice route trade phase began. And soon, Muslim traders dominated the Mediterranean and Indian Ocean trade. In the World War era phase, globalization was bound to end in a major crisis, and it did. In 1914, the outbreak of World War I brought an end to just about everything. The expanding high society of the West that had gotten so used to, including globalization, war replaced trade, destruction replaced construction, and countries closed their borders yet again. The global trade kicked off in the Age of Discovery, as the European explorer Christopher Columbus had accidentally discovered America. Aided by discoveries of so-called scientific revolution in the fields of astronomy, mechanics, physics, and shipping. The change started in the first wave of globalization, which rapidly occurred over the century ending in 1940. Great Britain started to dominate the world both geographically through the establishment of the British Empire and technologically, with the innovation like the steam engine, industrial weaving machine, and more. And it was in the era the first industrial revolution started. The story of globalization however, was not over. The end of the World War II marked a new beginning for the global economy. Under the predominance of the United States of America over the other states began. Aided by the technologies of the Second Industrial Revolution like the car and the plane, global trade started to rise once again. Worldwide trade once again rose in 1989. Today, in a world increasingly dominated by two global powers, the US and China, the new frontier of globalization in the cyber world. The digital economy, in its infancy during the third wave of globalization, is now becoming a force to reckon with through e-commerce, digital services, and 3D printing. In addition, the innovation and enabling artificial intelligence gives development to globalization. Yet, there will be some downside and threats by cross-border hacking and cyber attacks.
Is there any negative or positive impact of globalization?
Yes, there's a positive and negative impact in globalization through the global effect of climate change at the same time. Pollution in one part of the world leads to extreme weather events in another. And the cutting of forests in the few green lands the world has left, like the Amazon rainforest, has a further devastating effect on not just the world biodiversity, but its capacity to cope with hazardous greenhouse gas emissions. Lime Castillo, report.
Emerging business gives drastic effect globally, but has different impact on the economy. Giselle Anangoko has the news.
The explanation is in the distinction between international business and globalization, as both nature and culture have exchange. According to our source, international business refers to commerce in which goods, services, and resources that cross the border with two or more nations have exchanged. Globalization, on the other hand, is a broad term which refers a shift toward a more international global economy. This nowadays and how it was globalized. Globalization allows companies to find lower costs to make their products. It also increases the global competition that drives the prices down and creates a larger variety of choices for the customers. And that's all, Giselle Ann reporting.
Everything has changed to a global perspective now, and the greatest way to flourish in this environment, particularly in business, is to think with an international perspective in mind. But what really is international business? Bridget Milen Evangelista has the news.
It is a situation wherein the products or services is being conducted in more than one country. This opens a lot of opportunities to a large number of people to venture the businesses in an international level. Example is outsourcing, which is the process of using the third-party services providers to handle the certain business functions. Here in the Philippines, the well-known company for that is the BPO company. We have seen a growth of increasing distribution networks, supply chains, and transportation hubs throughout the last decades, improving the purchased products and services around the world. Participating countries in international business fulfills the domestic demand. Richer or developed countries such as US, Europe, and Japan expand their business globally and obtain greatest benefits. Economic policies and restriction limits the power of international business. International business simply allows a firm to expand its distribution of a product or service to foreign market and affects its goal by allowing it to increase sales and profits. In addition to earnings and sales, becoming international opens up jobs, foreign relations, and foreign direct investment in the host country, as well as allowing economies to expand and cultures to blend.
Is it really worth it studying international business, especially now that we're in the era of pandemic?
Of course, by studying international business will allow us to see how globalization has expanded the interconnectivity of business, markets, people, and information across countries. And because it makes for a substantial and rising percentage of the world's overall business, whether we like it or not, most businesses are engaged in international commerce. And now that we are facing worldwide pandemic, we should know how we would handle our business since this pandemic impacts businesses domestically and globally, whether they are big or small. I am Bridget Milen Green reporting.
The challenge of global business is by maintaining them. Without unified framework, the success and failure will no longer be determined. Maribik Barroso has the news.
Good day. So when we say unified framework, it is a general formulation which yields an order expression giving mode, shape, and natural frequencies for damaged elastic structures such as rods, beams, plates, and shells. The formulation is applicable to structures with any shape damage of those having more than one area of damage.
What is the best example for unified framework?
So the best example in unified framework for global business is the VM concept. As you can see here in the diagram, there are 4 columns that are connected to each other, wherein the first column shows there the VM dimension, and in the VM dimension, it belongs there the following: the value proposition, the value architecture, the value finance, and the value network. The second column of the VM function wherein you will see the alignment structure, intersending framework, and the knowledge capital. Next is the VM reach. You can see there the intermediate layer wherein it will contextualize the VM function. And last is the modeling principle. In here, it belongs the conceptual, multi-level, dynamic, granular, and the coherent. And these 4 are the modeling principles for the VM concept that is one of the example of the unified framework. As what you can see on the chart, the institutional-based view is where you can see the formal and informal rules of the game. A good institutional arrangement is one of that provides effective interaction between a set of formal and informal institutions. And the formal institution has been relatively neglected dimensions, partly due to the data limitation. When we say resource-based view, we can see here the specific resource and capabilities, wherein global business get the resource in raw materials. They realize their one resource to a tangible and intangible that must be heterogeneous and immobile and have a variety attribute for it to become a variety resource that will provide competitive advantages. For example, is when you are in a business and for it to become a unique, make sure that you have an excellent leadership, a good partnership, a good teamwork, a strong financial position, a brand portfolio, a global presence, a well-managed process, and lastly, an innovative idea for it to become a successful business in the global business world. So the fundamental question in where you will answer the question that will determine the success and failure firms of the globe. The success of the firms is enabled or constrained by formal and informal institutions or rules. In here, it shows the different global business strategies that we'll need to learn in different businesses. Like for example, the standardization strategy, transnational strategy, export strategy, and lastly is the multi-domestic strategy. Maribik Barroso reporting.
Globalization aided and accelerated the development of international trade, finance, and labor migration, all of which are examples of areas where countries must find shared solutions and collaborate. Global economy includes what we buy or sell, even what we own. Giwal Amigual has the news.
The global economy defined as a global economic system which incorporates all economic activity performed both within and between states, such as manufacturing, consuming, management of the economy, and global trade. Let me show you the status of global economy today. According to International Monetary Fund 2021 and 2022, the global economy is expected to increase by 6.0% and 4.9% respectively. The global projection for 2021 is unchanged from April 2021 WEO. However, there are some offset revisions. For 2021, the outlook for emerging market and developing economies has been lowered, particularly for emerging Asia. As for the positive side of global economy, emerging market growth and resilience are positive signs for global economy. It also enables countries to focus on the manufacturing of items where they have a competitive advantage. Because of the global economy, countries have found it possible to attract both short and long-term investment. In developing countries, investments go a long way to enhance their industries. What are the implications or problems faced by the global economy? Global inequality and unequal economic development, global poverty, non-renewable resource exhaustion, environmental depletion, and global warming. Systemic problems associated with inadequate financial sector regulations are the threats in global economy. Jewel Amingwal reporting.
Europe is one of the developing countries in the world today. The competition in business industry is getting tougher. Here's Ms. Susi, the head of European Free Trade Association. How do the EU government supporting Europe's business and industry's future?
By stabilizing a business-friendly environment, EU policy helps make EU industry and business more competitive and encourage job creation and economic growth. With globalization and increased competition from emerging countries, Europe's long-term economic prosperity will be determined by the strength of its industrial foundation rather than solely by service and banks. A number of EU programs assist SMEs in gaining access to funding and market. As well, we support entrepreneurship, business creation, internationalization, and growth by stabilizing a business and customer-friendly EU market based on simple, transparent, and uniform rules and standards. The EU is trying to remove residual trade obstacles and avoid building new ones.
How is the flow of importing and exporting of goods and services?
The European Union is the world's largest trading union. It is the largest exporter of manufactured goods and services in the world, as well as the largest import market for over 100 countries. One of the EU's foundational ideas was free trade among its members. This is made possible by the single market. Beyond its border, the EU is committed to global trade liberalization. The European Commission also provides information on market access and matchmaking opportunities to help European small and medium-sized firms export and invest outside the European countries. We help small and medium-sized firms to develop and grow abroad, while also protecting their intellectual property rights through the Enterprise Europe network.
What are the strategies that EU government do to help on trading goods internationally?
We put in place a number of EU mechanisms to help European business internationalize as access to market outside the EU is critical for European industry. Several instruments such as the COSME program, the Instrument for Cooperation with Industrialized Countries, the Partnership Instrument, the European Neighborhood Instrument, and Structural and Investment Fund been stabilized in the framework of EU programs. The Directorate General for Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship, and Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise is active in multilateral and bilateral international trade and investment discussions. We participate actively in the progressive elimination or reduction of tariff and non-tariff barriers by providing expert input to negotiations on import industrial sector.
What are the approved products or services that EU can manage to offer, and what is the regulation?
Depending on what services you offer and for how long, you may be able to provide services in other EU countries without setting up a company or branch. But there are specific rules you need to follow when selling to the final consumer that you don't met face to face. For example, information should be provided clearly and in writing, and your customer can withdraw from the contract within 14 days without any penalty and without having give any reason. When selling package, travel, or linked travel arrangement, you need to abide by certain EU rules.
Thank you, Ms. Susi, for informative European business status. The globalization process has resulted in a rise in international trade over time. International trade can stimulate economic growth of countries that are now interconnected. Again, this is Kyle Alcaraz for IBT News Update. Have a good day.